Hey guys, welcome back to another creepy video compilation. Make sure to like this video so we can get it recommended to others, and hit that subscribe button so you can keep seeing videos just like this. My dude's out here walking around like a real Terminator. That's pretty awesome. Likes going around freaking people out.
So the first internet post that really brought Zozo to light dates back to March 24th, 2009 on TrueGhostTales.com, a forum by Darren Wayne Evans. He uncovered an old Ouija board. He wanted to use it in order to contact the deceased lead singer of his favorite band, Bon Scott from AC/DC. He set the planchette down and began a session alone. After a half hour of no activity, the planchette finally began to shift ever so slightly. It slowly drifted towards the first letter, Z, and then to O, and then it moved faster back and forth, spelling out Zozo over and over again. So he moved the planchette to goodbye to try and end the session. But in a few last motions, the planchette frantically spelled out, "See you in hell." After Darren let go, the board then threw itself across the room. Ever since that initial session, Darren began experiencing intense nightmares. He'd wake up paralyzed and he couldn't move or speak, and he would hear the whispering of disembodied voices in his ears. Then he would hear random knocking on the walls and floors of his house during the day. On top of all of this, he felt he was constantly being watched no matter where he went. Even when alone, he felt the long stare of invisible eyes upon him.
I've always wondered if using a Ouija board actually works. Has anybody had any real experiences that you would like to talk about in the comments? I would love to read that. I know damn sure I'm not gonna mess with no Ouija board.
The Child Eater statue of Bern, Switzerland. Let's talk about it. It's wild that it's in Switzerland, and I'm going to tell you why. That's right, the World Economic Forum, where they have their supervillain meeting in Davos. That's in Switzerland. The WHO, not the band, the World Health Organization. That's in Switzerland. That's right, the CERN Collider is in Switzerland as well. I bet my life that this has something to do with how we fell into this dimension. Give you an idea how big that motherfucker is, that's a human. Not a big deal, it looks like the Avengers fight the final boss here. Hell yeah. The Bill Gates owned vaccine alliance company Gavi's also in Switzerland. Sweet. World Trade Organization's also in Switzerland. Holy shit, man, that's cool. We can't have statues of war heroes, but we're going to keep this one. We're going to keep the baby eater. Let that stay. So what we learned today, the capital of Switzerland is evil.
I swear the world was supposed to end in 2012 and we just got transported to another timeline. But then again, they've been doing evil stuff for a good while now. Who knows? A giant robotic granny. There we go. That's pure nightmare fuel right there.
Getting soaking wet.
And it's over if you fall overboard. I imagine that's probably what happened to that poor guy they never found that jumped off the yacht. So if you get dared to jump off a boat, don't do it. I think we already know what's gonna happen here.
Damn. Fuck, man.
Yeah, maybe you should probably go check on that guy. I guess the guys recording were pretty lucky, huh? How do you even do that? You got on the highway and forgot your lift was up? That just makes no sense.
Morbid facts about 9/11, Part 2. In 1983, professional climber Dan Goodwin illegally climbed the North Tower of the World Trade Center. He said he was trying to bring attention to the inability to rescue trapped occupants at the upper levels of skyscrapers. Afghan resistance leader Ahmad Shah Massoud warned about a major terrorist attack that was about to happen on U.S. soil. He ended up being assassinated just 2 days before 9/11. Out of the 343 firefighters who perished on 9/11, Daniel Sir was the first. He died when a woman who jumped on one of the towers landed on him. Tanya Head was a well-known 9/11 survivor who faked being in the South Tower during the attacks. She served as president of the WTC Survivors Network for years until it was revealed that she wasn't even in the country on 9/11. After the first plane hit the North Tower, people in the South Tower wanted to leave, but were advised by an announcement to stay at their seats. Some allegedly tried to leave anyway, but were turned back by security at the exits. More than 600 people ended up dying when the tower went down.
What? I didn't know that last one, man. There is no way security was gonna keep me from running out. No. Why would they stop people from escaping? That is so dumb.
Easy. And with savings that fit
Oh, wow.
This shit crazy, boy.
USAA.com.
Final destination.
USAA.
Yeah.
Literally.
We're made for
Oh, shit, right here.
You can call me crazy all you want, but I refuse to drive behind any log trucks like that, or when they're carrying any sorts of pipes that are sticking out backwards. I will always move over. It can totally happen.
They don't want you to know.
Have you ever heard of the story of the 100 monkeys?
The 100 monkeys is an experiment. He's right on in his final point. He just missed some of the details. The 100 monkeys was an experiment performed by some Japanese scientists, I believe. They took sweet potatoes and they dropped them on this island for the monkeys to eat up by the tree line. Monkeys all love the sweet potatoes. They start eating them. And then the scientists start dropping the sweet potatoes in the sand. Well, now there's sand on the sweet potatoes, and that's a fucking problem. Monkeys don't want to eat them. So they take two of the monkeys, and they teach the monkeys to take the sweet potatoes down to the water and wash the sand off them. Then they take those monkeys back to the island, put them with the rest of them. Every day, those two monkeys that know how to wash the sweet potatoes teach a couple more monkeys to wash the sweet potatoes. This continues until the number grows, until it gets to 100 monkeys. Now, once 100 monkeys knew to take the sweet potatoes down to the water and wash the sand off them, it all switched. Now, suddenly, all the monkeys on the island immediately, once it hit 100, to take the sweet potatoes down to the water, wash the sand off them, no more sand on your sweet potatoes. They thought this was very interesting. So then they tried the experiment on the next island over. Now the monkeys on the next island had never even had contact with the monkeys from the other island. And now suddenly all the monkeys know to take your sand-covered sweet potatoes down to the water, wash the sand off. What is that? It's collective consciousness. So everybody talking about, what does it matter if I wake one more person up to the reality of this madness we're living in? Well, we could be just one or two monkeys away from hitting 100. That's the point. It does matter. We're all connected. And once we hit that tipping point, we can all wake up to the reality that we're getting played like a bunch of fucking rubes. Let's make it to 100 monkeys, everybody.
That is exactly right. They've actually done a different experiment, I think, with rats, that they teach them to do something on one part of the world, and then rats on a different part of the world somehow learn this new skill. It's really weird. Oh my god. It's almost like the driver didn't care. Nobody screamed or yelled. It was probably Russian. Those Russians are hardcore.
Creepy ocean theory. It is said that humans do not only know 5% of the ocean,
but it is said that the government does not want it to be known, since there are theories that they found beasts or something creepy there. It is said that these creatures are very large that could end our existence.
It's possible. I believe there could be something big down there. They're always finding new species of fish, especially bioluminescent ones.
So a lot of you may have seen bits and pieces of this viral, heart-wrenching body cam footage out of Oklahoma. But I'm also fairly certain not a single one of these accounts actually explained to you what happened. Well, unfortunately, we got you covered. Everything you need to know about the viral body cam footage. Shortly before midnight on January 5th of 2023, a Tulsa mother of 3 awoke to the sound of her then 9-year-old son screaming. Now, initially, she was under the assumption the young boy was just having a nightmare. But as she gets a little closer in order to wake him up, she discovers he is in serious need of medical attention with multiple pressure wounds to his chest. And to make matters even worse, the attacker was found to be no other than his very own sister, just 3 years older than he. It was at this point emergency services were notified, bringing us up to speed with the beginning of the now infamous body cam footage. The still unnamed girl rushes downstairs in a state of hysteria, continuing to apologize for her actions over the course of the next 10 minutes. All the while,
Where's the knife?
Sorry, Dad. I'm sorry. I don't know what to I'm so sorry, Mom. I'm sorry. Please. I'm so sorry.
she would also confess to the crime several times, while simultaneously stating she had absolutely no idea why or how this had happened. In addition to this, that she had ran back into her room after the attack in order to toss the knife out of her window, at which point she is placed into a squad car and taken in for holding.
Am I gonna be able to go back to school?
Huh?
Am I gonna be able to go back to school?
Now I'm sure at this point a lot of you are asking the exact same question. Why? Well, that's just it. No one really seems to know, and any source that claims they have the inside scoop is purely speculation. And unfortunately, in the early morning hours of January 6th, that young boy passed away. I leave you with this.
Sometimes juveniles are what's called a youthful offender, where they've committed a heinous crime, and even if they're under 18, they still get charged as an adult. In this case, the suspect is so young that that's not going to happen.
That is insane, man. 12-year-old girl did it to her 9-year-old brother. What? I had never seen that. That's crazy. That is pretty bizarre. This is probably in China too. They usually have weird stuff like this. I bet that feels weird because that bridge is moving with the waves.
Creepy tick-tocks that will keep you awake at night.
So I'm babysitting, right? And it's 10:30 at night now. I've already put the kids in bed and I hear laughing. I started to get a little mad because this was the third time I told them they needed to be in bed since they have school in the morning. The thing is, the noises were coming from the baby's room. I thought maybe they woke up to check on their sister. So then I decided to check the baby monitor. Please tell me what's in the top left corner.
I don't know. I've been face down in a ditch for 2 hours. I was trying to save your buddy, okay? I don't think there's much left I have to prove. Okay, well, if you could come back, that'd be nice. Okay? I don't know where this thing is or when it's gonna... Oh, shit!
Well, that last one sucked. But the shapeshifter one was weird. At first it looked like a person, and then as it ran away it was a wolf. I don't know about that one.
There he is! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh god! Hey man, appreciate you. Hey, bro.
Finally, a happy ending. First, that kid jumps off that cruise, never to be seen again. Some people think he was probably ate by sharks. Then, that submarine implodes. Thankfully, they found this guy in time.
Yeah.
That cow's got jokes. That's funny. Bro better bolt it out of there, man. It was probably a constipated homeless guy, and he looked pretty upset. Wait. Those can happen in the ocean? I did not know that. I thought they happen in lakes and rivers because of sinkholes.
The 3 biggest secrets that will never be revealed. The last one will surprise you. Number 3, the recipe for Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is one of the most popular drinks in history, and its recipe is only known to 2 people at a time. Its recipe is so secret that even Coca-Cola employees don't know the exact details. This secret is carefully guarded in a safe at the World of Coca-Cola. Number 2, the tomb of Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan was one of the most influential and successful rulers of his time. He returned to his native Mongolia towards the end of his life. Anyone who attended his funeral was executed to keep the location of his tomb secret. No human being alive today knows where he is buried. And best of all, I'm sure you don't. Number 1, Area 51, a classified military base in Nevada. Area 51 is so secret that the CIA didn't acknowledge its existence until 2013. Strange little green creatures have been spotted in the area surrounding the location.
I know for sure one of the people that knows the Coca-Cola has to be the CEO of McDonald's, because that McDonald's Coke always hits different. Nobody has Coke like McDonald's does.
Oh my god!
Yeah, you won't ever catch me doing that. Takes a special kind of human to be risking it all for a thrill, and I'm not that human. He's gonna get to work somehow. I wonder if it's always like that. Maybe the river's just overflowing right now.
Okay, y'all, so I went down the rabbit hole myself. And this guy who explores the different parts of the Moab desert and stuff had came across someone's belongings left in the desert. And it was just basically a part of his walk. He was just looking for maybe some archaeological digs, but then he finds a backpack and a guitar and a bunch of other stuff. And you can watch his video. It's about 6 minutes long, but basically in a nutshell, this is what he had discovered. Now, mind you, this video is 6 days old. He then posts this update. So apparently the family members of Ryan Boone have reached out to him and said that, hey, that is our relative's stuff. He went missing about 1.5 years ago. Now, the family went ahead and sent that explorer more photos of their missing relative. They even went as far as sending him images of what he was wearing, as well as tying it together with the stuff that was found, including an image of his guitar and what happens to be his guitar being posted with his niece, or possibly his friend's child, but the baby's face is redacted, so it doesn't matter. Now, I had to do a little bit of digging because I'm like, who is this guy? And did they have any other missing persons posts about him? Apparently they did. The Grand County Sheriff's Department had posted on August 14th, about a year and a half ago, about his disappearance in the desert. And then I did some more digging because I found his name circulating in a Reddit thread about Gabby Petito. And remember, Gabby Petito was that girl who had came up missing because her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, had took her life. Now, in that Reddit thread, I came across this post, and it says, as unusual pieces of this tragedy is another person who was reported missing in the same area of Moab on August 4th, just 9 days after Kayleen and Crystal were last seen. And that's another missing persons case that internet sleuths are attempting to tie together to Brian Laundrie, because they think that Brian Laundrie was going on some like serial killer spree and just basically killing hikers all over the Moab area. They go on to say that Timothy Jordan Boone was 36 years old and had 2 dogs when they disappeared, and one of the dogs ended up turning up to the Emery County in Utah, not far from Moab. This is according to eyewitnesses in a Facebook group search for Boone. He was spotted in I believe it's pronounced Eucala, Colorado, around August 16th, and possibly spotted near Grand Junction, Colorado, near August 21st. But again, those are just sightings. Now, I was not able to see in any of those Gabby Petito threads if they saw this viral video of this person being identified and his stuff. Now, the guy, Jordan Boone, has not been found, but again, this researcher by the name of Ryan is going to continue to search in that Moab desert to see if he could find any more of Ryan's stuff or any sightings of Ryan. But I want to hear from you guys. Do you remember this missing person story? And do you know if there's any connection between it and the whole Gabby Petito story?
That seems totally plausible. It's never a good sign when they just find all their clothes, because why would they take their clothes off unless they've been unalived? Yeah, that might be connected. Wow, they probably got sucked right out of that thing, man. Jeez, man. I hope I never have to experience a tornado.
This guy's not gonna suck out.
Is number 5 really real? How would somebody fake that? That looked like somebody was tugging on that.
Did you know The Hills Have Eyes was based on a real family? This is a warning. History was a very dark place, and if you've got a squeamish stomach or you just can't handle that kind of stuff, then I would recommend you probably just keep scrolling. Sawney Bean was a man who lived in the late 15th century and was a tanner by trade. He later moved to Ayrshire, Scotland, I really hope I'm saying that right, once he married his wife. Now, for some weird reason, him and his wife decided that they were going to make their new home inside a cave. This cave had tunnels leading out of it that actually stretched to a mile long. For a while, they didn't make very much money, so her husband actually started robbing people that would come by the trail near their cave. At first, that seems pretty simple enough. There were lots of villages that were close by and roads that actually frequently connected the villages, so there were people that passed by a lot. But this actually ended up getting him a little worried, and he thought that if he wasn't more careful, people would start to be able to trace the crime back to him. So, how does he solve this problem? Well, he starts to them. But then there came the problem of what to do with the bodies. So he has another brilliantly twisted idea and decides, well, why not just eat them? So he and his wife started to eat all of these people that he would end up robbing. And as time passed, they ended up actually having children of their own. In total, they had 14 children, and they raised these children on the same diet that they had. If that wasn't disturbing enough, as their children started to grow older, they started to eat each other. This went on for 2 decades. The missing persons case that resulted from this literally is the longest list of missing person cases that the authorities have ever had. Massive search parties were going off for the people that had been going missing, but nobody seemed to make it to this cave. Until one day this family made a grave mistake. The Bean family, which now consisted of multiple generations, decided to attack this couple, and by the time they got to the husband, a bunch of people were actually returning back from the village fair, and for the first time ever, they were actually outnumbered. When this case went to authorities, it actually was so severe that King James I himself came down to this area and actually brought a small army of 400 men. And with that started the largest manhunt that Scotland has ever seen. But at first, they still couldn't find them until finally some tracker dogs tracked down their scent at the entrance to their family cave. King James's small army fought the family, and there were actually now 48 of them. Their crimes were so horrible that the king himself sentenced them to death. In the span of 25 years, the Bean family killed 1,000 people. This has honestly got to be one of the craziest stories that I think I've ever fell upon. I bet the next time you watch that movie, you're gonna have a whole different feeling.
Well, that was just horrible all around. You had unaliving, inbreeding, robbing. I didn't know that movie was based off of a somewhat true story. That was scary. Wonder if the other driver fell asleep, maybe? That's what it seems like. I mean, other than that, I would say that was intentional.
Love fashion. In the year of 2020, he disappeared and he was never seen again. Still to this day in 2023, he vanished.
But comes to find out he was actually missing, and he's been missing since the year 2020.
Did you hear about the Balenciaga missing person?
No.
This model for Balenciaga, his name is Christopher G. And he posed on so many different ads for Balenciaga, different shoots, everything. But he went missing.
Until this lady came out with this video. Here it is, of a mannequin.
Okay, people, tell me something. This boy look like somebody dead and bombed.
This mannequin is him. This mannequin looks a little bit too realistic. I mean, a lot of people was digging deep into their mannequins, Balenciaga mannequins, and then they noticed something very, very strange. If you look at regular mannequins compared to their mannequins, it's completely terrifying. No, you cannot tell me that they mannequins don't look real. People believe that this guy who vanished was waxed.
Look at the features. Scary, like. Look at the fucking hands, bro. You see the indent in it? It almost seems like you can see the vein in some crazy. Like, that's crazy.
His hands is as real as mine.
Now, like I said, this is where these theories is about to get real dark. Now, remember when Balenciaga was basically about to get canceled? Because of all of the demonic stuff for the kids and the covers of all of these magazine articles.
Do you think Balenciaga deserves to be canceled right now?
I think they do.
Balenciaga could kiss my. Yeah, cancel them.
Like, it was so bad for them that they had to put out a whole article to address this issue.
Balenciaga has always been a brand known for ad campaigns, products, and runway shows that push boundaries and make audiences uncomfortable.
Well, people believe that this guy was a sacrifice.
They don't do that to mannequins so detailed like that. Where they do that at?
I'm not allowed to touch, but he said, do not touch, because I really wanted to touch now, you know?
Right.
Look how detailed this is. Tell me this doesn't look real.
And nothing on this mannequin looks like it's a plastic or it's wax. This guy was fully powdered, like the face was so powdered you could use your nail and scratch it off.
Wait. Holy yeah. Hold tight, man. Hold tight. I'm gonna get you out of this.
He had ears, a hole in his ears and his nose, and I was like scrutinizing, like, this cannot be, how could they do this, you know? It was just too real.
Waxed his body, put him out in the public. And that's why when that lady saw him, and even when she was getting interviewed, she said, because she saw him in person, behind the window and close up, and she was saying some things.
So I was looking through the braille, and he looked like he was looking directly in my eyes.
His eyes are moving, but he can't talk or move any other part of his body. Dalton is trying to get the wax off him while Wade is trying to use his eyes to send a message to him that somebody is coming. But he doesn't get the message, and the masked man comes from behind.
So I pulled my phone out and I start videoing. I was saying, I'm not allowed to touch, because he said, do not touch, because I really wanted to touch now, you know?
Now, before you say something like, why would they sacrifice him? I do not know. But apparently, for these companies or some of these people out there, it works. Believe it or not.
Bro, that would be some stuff if they really taxidermied this guy. And does anybody know if he's actually missing? Anybody got any info on that? Let me know in the comments, please, because I have no idea what this guy's name is. Another one of those cloud formations that looks like a tsunami. Does that not happen in America? Because I've never seen one in real life. Be pretty cool to see one.
The disappearance of Antoinette Calladito is one of the biggest unexplained mysteries in New Mexico history.
Really? I've never heard of it.
Okay, so Antoinette was a 9-year-old from Gallup, New Mexico, who was not there when her mom went to wake her up for Sunday school the next morning. So her mom like searched all over the house, right? She was waking up her and her sister to take them to Sunday school. Antoinette was nowhere to be found. So she thought, okay, maybe she's just like outside. She was mad, but she wasn't concerned yet. She went and asked all of the neighbors and nobody had seen her. That's when she got really concerned, obviously. So there's been so much controversy over what happened in this case. Like nobody seems to know anything, right? So the cops didn't search the residence until about 4 days after the little girl was reported missing. So there was reports that a man who Antoinette's mom was at a bar with the night before came to the house, knocked on the door to try to talk to the mom because they had gotten into it. The little girl answered the door, the mom came to the door, and the mom sent him home, right? Then he was questioned. The cop said that his alibi checked out and...
Damn it, I need a part 2. Let me check the comments. A lot of people were saying her mom was involved. They said her mom had something to do with it and took it to her grave. Oh, man.
This was an ad posted in Kansas City a month ago that a viewer by the name of Christian sent in. It's a harmless looking ad for an old vacuum cleaner. This was posted in the for sale by owner section and listed as free. It was titled, Free Dirt Devil Vision Bagless Canister. The ad description said, I'm giving away this perfectly working Dirt Devil bagless vacuum cleaner. My wife and I got a new vacuum and no longer need this. First come, first serve. Will disclose address after communication. The listing left a phone number to contact, and so Christian replied to the ad, sending a text saying he's interested, and promptly got a response. The reply back was, hello, what is your name? To which he replied, Christian, what's yours? They replied, Jackie, nice to meet you. The vacuum is all yours, when can you come pick her up? Christian replied back, if you can hold it for me until tomorrow, I'd come then. They replied back, okay. So the next day, the seller sends a follow-up text, hello Christian, what time can you pick up the vacuum? 8 o'clock if that works for you. What's the address? They replied back, sounds good to me, give me a call, I'll explain how to get here. So at this point, Christian calls the number as directed and a man's voice answers the phone. Not the female voice he was expecting after the seller introduced themselves as Jackie. Christian asked if this were Jackie he was speaking with, and the man said no, that's his wife, and that she's not available right now. This was the first red flag for Christian, since it was the same number he was contacting the whole time, yet apparently both this man and his wife were using it, which would just seem a little unusual to anyone, since no one really shares cell phones. The man on the phone introduced himself as Brock and explained how to get to the location. He gave Christian the cross streets to what he described as his warehouse, which he'd have to open the gate for. Christian had a pretty normal reaction, asking what he meant by warehouse, because he was expecting to be given a regular home address to pick up this relatively small item. Brock told Christian that he owned part of a small warehouse where he and his wife would store a lot of their old belongings and stuff they were going to sell. He claimed to be a wholesaler. Christian agreed to come to the specified location at 8 o'clock near Grandview, which is south of Kansas City. The specified cross streets led him to a quiet T intersection in an area with nothing but unmarked buildings that resembled warehouses. Christian parked his car and found the gate that he was told to meet Brock at. When he texted him that he was there, the gate started to roll open automatically, and beyond the gate was a long driveway between two different brick buildings leading into darkness. Christian called Brock, who rejected the call and texted Christian to come inside the gated area and inside the warehouse straight ahead. It was so dark ahead of him that he couldn't even see a warehouse. Christian asked Brock to bring the vacuum outside by the gate, and this is where the alleged Brock person stopped answering. After trying to call Brock's number multiple times, eventually the calls would go straight to voicemail, likely because Christian's number was blocked. So Christian hurried back to his car and rushed home. Upon checking on the ad once he got home, the listing was taken down. Doing a reverse phone lookup, he found that the number didn't come up on any phone book websites. By avoiding going beyond that gate and into the darkness and unknown ahead, he likely avoided something terrible.
Do any of you guys still use Craigslist? I hope you don't. That is a sure way to get robbed. If you do, you should probably switch over to Facebook Marketplace. Nothing good ever came out of Craigslist, man.
This is why you should always lock your doors. A junior in high school was home alone working on a paper while his parents were out to dinner. All night he sits with his back to his door, sitting at his desk with his noise-canceling headphones on. Around 11 o'clock, he takes his headphones off at the same time his parents are returning to the house, and he hears his mom from downstairs yell, "Hey Adrian, what happened?" Confused, he runs downstairs and sees right away what she's looking at, muddy footprints all over the rug. He tells her, "I didn't leave my desk." And then they realize someone must have broken in. They look at the footprints and there's none leaving the house. They're worried someone's still in the house, so they run into the garage, terrified, call the police. Police arrive and they don't find anyone in the house, but they do make a chilling discovery upstairs. The police bring them to the kid's bedroom door, which had been left open all night, and they point to the message written on it in Sharpie. This is the actual transcript of what was written on his door, which means for nearly 2 hours, someone stood in this kid's doorway watching him.
I need an explanation, Mr. Ballin. That's not good enough. That kid's probably not wearing noise-canceling headphones ever again. I don't want to alarm anyone, but isn't that more common than not? I think usually if one of the engines goes out, the plane can still safely land. So yeah, not very alarming. Oh, that's awesome. That's a good way to never get found again. I hope he remembers how to get back.
The church's greatest secret weapon. During the First Crusade, there was an inconquerable pair of knights, lifelong friends Raphael Caron and Dmitri Valdeska. However, Dmitri worked occult magic in secret, twisting ancient secrets to manipulate both men beyond mortal. His continued, non-consensual workings would enhance Raphael into a superhuman warrior. A realization that would come to haunt the man. As he became something beyond human, this led him to found the Sons of Man, an order brought together containing the Holy Paladin Knights, magical warriors of an ancient tradition dating back to Charlemagne. Various different groups of supernatural hunters across Europe. as well as the exorcists and countless soldiers of the Catholic Church. According to the transcribed legends I've uncovered about this order, Caron did not die like a normal man, falling into a torpid state much like an incorrupt saint or self-mummified monk, to be risen out of his crypt and face the dark supernatural threats beyond the capabilities of mortal warriors. After centuries of this unending servitude, revenge came. The order attacked Vadeska, now a vampiric god. They laid siege to his castle, led by a fully armored Caron. I believe he was the one found underneath Notre Dame. Still a superhuman weapon lying in wait for his next use.
Maybe somebody should wake him up. We could really use this guy right now. Well, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you made it all the way to the end, just know that you're awesome and I appreciate all of you guys. And with that, I'll see you in the next video.